Hey team, ever struggled with the press overhead? Today we're going to go through the 3 variations that we use in our gym. Strict press, and push jerk. First thing I want to talk about is the rack position. The rack position is relatively important in the 3 movements. First and foremost, we need to make sure that there is force produced up. So the rack position usually with the front squat is relatively high with the elbows. We're creating that shelf for the bar to sit on. With the press, we can afford to go a little bit lower in this position here so we can get that maximal force where our wrist is in line with our elbows and we can then press from there. So first things first when we strict press is we need to make sure that we are fully locked out. So our glutes are nice and tight, the midline's nice and tight, okay, and we're locked out in this position. We're producing force down through our feet. From there, the head wants to move out of the way, bar wants to move in a nice straight line, and then the head comes through in this sort of position here, okay? That's first, all right? Then the bar then comes down, we re-rack, head comes out the way, bar in this rack position, okay? A few things I don't want to see. One is that overcompensation of the lower back. So we're pressing in this position to try and maintain a nice straight line with that bar, okay? So if we extend through, what we're going to see is the bar moving forward, okay? So ideally, we want that bar in this position. Second movement we had is the push press, okay? We want to make sure, again, scenario, we want to produce force down to then be able to produce force up. So a couple of things we need to consider. One is the rack position again, all right? Although we were in this front rack position with the strict press, we were able to then press overhead. What we don't want is when we dip and drive, that bar to be moving low, okay? The bar wants to still be sat in this rack position. As we then dip and extend, the bar's going to come out of that rack. We can then fully grip the bar and then press through, okay? Secondly is that force produced down. What we want is what's called a vertical dip. So we're just going to work on that for now. So from there, we want to keep our chest nice and tall, hips in this position here, and then extend. What we don't want is the bar to be leaning forward, our hips going back, and maybe going onto our toes here. So we want to really force those hips back and down, like so. Get them out of the way. We then can extend through. Naturally, we may come onto our toes and then extend through like so. We want to make sure that when we dip and extend, the bar is then moving. Dip, extend, bar's moving, and then press. We don't want that early press like so. Okay? We want to make sure our full extension happens first before that bar starts to move. Same position with the rack position. So when we come down, our head wants to come out of the way, so on and so forth. So the head comes out of the way when we dip and drive, head comes through. Reason the head goes through is to make sure we're maintaining a nice straight line from the overhead position to our toes, okay? What we don't want to do is get our head head out the way and then would then have that lean back scenario going on here. So we want to make sure our tummy's nice and tight, head comes through. So same again, dip, extend, head comes through, rack. Finally is the push jerk. With the push jerk, it's a little bit different. We want to try and make sure we're producing force up to be able to get under that bar. So we're going to start by breaking it up. So we're going to start with the scenario of the push press. I'm going to do it without the bar to start with. We want to try and make sure we're getting into a nice dip position, upright torso, hips back, chest tall. Next thing we're going to do, then we're going to look at the dip and drive, extend and drop. So we can do it without the bar, so we're not confusing ourselves. So all we want to do is try and move our feet from a jumping position to a landing position and catch. So it looks like this. Dip, extend, come down. So we're opening up our hips, closing them off, back off again, moving our feet and dropping down. Looks like this. Noticing the fire of the hips. The hips are opening and then closing off. Quick time. Next thing we want to do is incorporate the bar with this. So as the bar starts to move, we want to produce force under to be able to drop and catch. Again, looks like this. Things to consider again, exactly the same scenario with the strict press and the push press. The bar doesn't want to be moving forward, okay, or backwards when it's overhead or in the rack position. So we're going to maintain that nice neutral spine. Vertical dip down, drive, extend, drop, and catch. We reset, we go again. Extend through, drive, drop, catch. Reset the feet, always reset those feet. We don't want to be going wider and wider, okay? So from there again, dip down, drive, catch. Hope these little tips help, guys. And then again, try and look at practicing with that PVC pipe first before we start then progressing through that bar. If you're struggling with the overhead position, we've got some great mobility drills for that. I'll link the thumbnail for you in the next video. All right then, team. The Open's coming up, so let's get after it and see you on the whiteboard.